We are live.
Namaskar and warm greetings. I'm Tanushri Sharma, Professor and Senior Additional Registrar, OP Jindal Global University, and MC for today's important event that celebrates the commencement of the academic sojourn of future business leaders. To begin the event, may I, on behalf of the OP Jindal Global University, extend a warm welcome to everyone who is participating and joining the audience of the 2021 Jindal Global Business School Commencement Lecture. Taking the proceeding forward, may I invite Professor Mayank Dhondial, Dean, Jindal Global Business School, who leads a wonderful group of committed, compassionate, and capable faculty members and staff to deliver his welcome address. Professor Dhondial, please.
Thank you very much, Professor Tanushri. A very good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all of you, depending on your respective time zones from where you join us live today on YouTube for the commencement lecture of Jindal Global Business School at OP Jindal Global University. My name is Mayank Dhondial, and I'm a professor and dean at Jindal Global Business School. A very warm welcome to all of you who join us today. I would like to quickly welcome all our esteemed panelists, who join us today for this wonderful session. I would like to extend a very warm welcome to our guest speaker, Mr. Amarjeet Singh, who is the CEO of India Business Group, United Kingdom, which is a leading advisory consultancy that specializes in helping organizations develop bilateral trade and investment opportunities between the UK and the Indian market. I would also like to welcome our founding Vice Chancellor, Professor C. Rajkumar, under whose guidance and support, JGBS has gone from strength to strength over the last 12 years. I'm also delighted to welcome our Registrar, Professor Sridhar Patnaik, and our Vice Dean at JGBS, Professor Dr. Tej Pawan Gandhok. I would, of course, like to welcome all my faculty and staff colleagues at JGBS who make sure that the school runs effectively and efficiently. But of course, the star attraction for this commencement talk are our students, who we all missed during the vacations. And we are glad that they are back now, even if in an online mode. I would like to extend a very warm welcome to all our existing students of JGBS who join us back after their summer vacations in our various UG and postgraduate programs. I would also like to welcome all our incoming students, who are going to start their academic session very soon in JGBS, in the various programs that they are joining. Our guest speaker for today is an expert on the India-UK business relations and will be talking on the opportunities ahead for the India-UK relations, especially in light of the COVID-19 pandemic and the exit of the United Kingdom from the European Union. I certainly look forward to this wonderful, wonderful session from Mr. Amarjeet Singh. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Dhondial, for the exciting start to the event. Moving right along, I would now like to invite Professor Sridhar Patnaik, Registrar, OP Jindal Global University, to present the opening remarks.
Thank you very much, Professor Tanushri, and good morning to everyone, and in particular to our chief guest this morning, Mr. Amarjeet Singh, for having accepted our invitation to address all the incoming students of the Jindal Global Business School. It's indeed a pleasure to be with you all this morning and this afternoon. And first of all, I would like to congratulate each one of you for getting admission to one of the prominent business schools in the country and in the region. Usually, this is that time of the year when we are abuzz with activities, both curricular and co-curricular, convening commencement lectures, and so many other activities like academic and resource orientation and all, giving an opportunity for each one of you to interact with fellow students, friends, and faculty members. But due to the special circumstances we are all into since January 2020, we could not meet in person, but certainly this comes with a particular advantage, and the advantage is that your parents, friends, and relatives all of them could join the commencement lectures and other activities that we have convened for you online. And I can also assure you this is going to be an exceptional university experience as you pursue your 3 years undergraduate degree at the JGBS, as it is usually called, and even your 5 years integrated business management degree and the 2 years MBA degree. And it's going to be a thriving experience wherein you will have opportunity to learn from some of the foremost faculty members who are thinkers and consultants, and you will also benefit from the multitude of courses that we offer across the university and from other schools as well. So it's going to be an engaging and an enriching experience to you as you pursue your academic career path. And I can also assure you that you will get fullest support from all the relevant offices of the university, be it the Office of the Career Services or the Office of the International Affairs and Global Initiatives, as you plan your future career opportunities and your higher education opportunities as well. And also to help you induct into the Jindal Global Business School, the school had organized a bridge course by name the Pre-Semester Immersion and Training Program, which I presume most of you had attended. And very soon there's going to be a university-wide orientation program as well. And we believe that all these programs will give you an opportunity to know your university better and to understand the place better, because you are the most important stakeholders, and we always innovate our pedagogy and even our teaching practices by making them so very student learning centric. So on this particular note, I welcome each one of you once again, and I wish you a very good academic year ahead and in the years to come. And I also welcome the speaker once again. It's a pleasure meeting each one of you, albeit virtually.
Thank you, Professor Patnaik, for your remarks and also for setting the perfect tone to the commencement lecture. Transforming an idea into a leading global university known for its teaching and research excellence in a short span of time is no ordinary feat, and it gives me an immense pleasure in welcoming Professor C. Rajkumar, founding Vice Chancellor, OP Jindal Global University, who has played an instrumental role in making this feat possible, to kindly offer his inaugural address. Professor Rajkumar, please.
Thank you very much, Tanushree, and thank you so much, Mayank, for those introductory words, and of course, Sridhar. It is such a very special moment for us to celebrate and welcome the new batch of students joining the Jindal Global Business School. I also want to extend a warm welcome to my very dear friend and a transformative institution builder and a true business leader, Mr. Amarjit Singh, who has kindly consented to deliver the commencement lecture on this very special occasion of the Jindal Global Business School. Now, let me begin by saying that my heartiest congratulations are to the students of Jindal Global Business School, the new students in particular. Let me begin by, first of all, congratulating the undergraduate students. Now, I know that all of you, those who have joined the BBA program, the BBA honors program in particular, of course, the business, the BBA honors in data analytics, the BBA honors in financial markets, and also the integrated BBA MBA program, as we call the IBM program. You are all students who must have completed your 12th standard just a few months ago. You've gone through the entire pandemic situation as you completed your 12th standard. You could not even have taken a vacation, a break from your high school education. You took the entrance examination and got admitted to the business school. And here you are entering into the portals of a college and a university education without even having a well-deserved break. So I want to, first of all, congratulate each one of you for your resilience, your commitment, your dedication, and to withstand the pressure of the last year and to successfully enter into the portals of Jindal Global University. I also want to congratulate your parents, your family members, and other well-wishers, many of whom have played a very significant role in your life, and each one of them owes a deep sense of gratitude to your journey. I also want to congratulate the students who have joined the Masters in Business Administration, the MBA program at Jindal Global Business School. You have, of course, completed your undergraduation, maybe this year, but maybe some years ago, maybe worked in different organizations, and now chosen this year to enter into higher education to pursue your master's degree. Again, a very important decision you have taken in your own life, and I can only hope that the journey that you're beginning today will fulfill your own goals and aspirations. I also want to mention that the timing of today's commencement lecture couldn't have been better. Just a few days ago, the BBA program of the Jindal Global Business School has been ranked among the top 3 programs in the country, among the 125 programs that were ranked by the prestigious Outlook iCare rankings. This is a very important testimonial to the extraordinary contribution of the faculty members and the students and the staff of Jindal Global Business School, including its alumni, for JGBS to attain this very coveted distinction in a relatively short span of time. I also want to mention that the university itself has achieved great heights in the last 12 years since our inception. As you know, we have been consistently ranked now by the QS World University Rankings as India's #1 private university. We've also been declared by the Government of India as an institution of eminence, which is given only to 10 public and 10 private universities. So the business school is part of a larger institutional milieu in which there are totally 12 schools, including 10 of them which are up and running, and 2 new schools which will begin next year, the Jindal School of Literature and Languages and Jindal School of Public Health and Human Development. I mention this because of the fact that the Jindal Global Business School is part of a larger university, and the students of the business school have opportunity to pursue interdisciplinary courses across the entire gamut of the institutional opportunities that have been created. I am particularly delighted to see and welcome my colleague, Mr. Vikram Tomar. Vikram Tomar, as many of you know, is the face of the institution. Many of you as parents and students would have met him and his team members to begin with before any one of us. And I want to thank him and his contribution along with his entire team for bringing together an outstanding group of individuals who have joined today in the Jindal Global Business School across its undergraduate and its master's programs. Shortly, when I finish my inaugural address, I'll invite Vikram to say a few words introducing the incoming class of 2021 of Jindal Global Business School. For all those students who are joining the JGBS, I must say that you are entering into an extraordinary institution. The opportunities are phenomenal, including every aspect of an institution that will define your future, be it the quality of faculty, the research ecosystem, the research centers, the teaching, the pedagogy, the opportunity to pursue interdisciplinarity, the internships, the placements, the international collaborations that are available for you. Almost every aspect of Jindal Global Business School has been beautifully choreographed to empower each one of you to attain your fullest potential as you graduate from any one of these programs that you have already enrolled yourself. Lastly, as I complete my inaugural address, I want to mention that we are most delighted that we have with us an absolutely inspiring figure to deliver the commencement lecture today. While my colleague, Professor Tanushree Sharma, will formally introduce Mr. Amarjeet Singh, I would like to highlight 5 unique features of our commencement speaker. First, Mr. Amarjeet Singh is one of those individuals who is deeply passionate and committed to India. He believes in the idea of India, not only because of the fact that he has roots from India, but he's deeply connected to India. He engages with India in all its dimensions, including trade and business and investment, but also in academic institutions, in issues relating to innovation and technology and entrepreneurship. That's the first unique feature of Mr. Amarjit Singh. Second, he's an institution builder who has created an institution that is at the cutting edge of building this relationship that I talked about. He is involved at the highest levels of engagement in advancing the relationship between India and the UK, and building not only the India-UK relationship from the standpoint of trade and investment, but what are the other possibilities that could bring India and UK together on a number of things. This includes opportunities for students as well. The third unique aspect of Mr. Amarjit Singh is his strong commitment to academia. He has been involved as a senior advisory board member of the University of Southampton, which is one of the top 100 universities of the world, an institution with which OP Jindal Global University has very strong partnership, and the opportunity for the students of Jindal Global Business School to spend time at the University of Southampton is quite significant, and he is leading that effort. In fact, I must say that Mr. Amarjit Singh has been able to galvanize a strong sense of intellectual consciousness within the University of Southampton to advance the relationship between OP Jindal Global University and the University of Southampton. Fourth is something that I am very excited about it, that Mr. Amarjit Singh strongly believes in the power of entrepreneurship. He is keen to engage with young people to advance new ideas, including on issues relating to innovation and transformation, so that young individuals, even when they are in academic institutions, in business schools, can contribute to ideas that can change and transform societies. That's a very important aspect of what Amarjit Singh does. And the last thing which I would also say is that something we have been beneficiary of it is that Amarjit Singh also believes in the idea of connecting individuals and institutions. Through his effort, we have got ourselves connected to other institutions within the United Kingdom and London. And today, the relationship between OP Jindal Global University and not only the University of Southampton, but also other academic and research and industry and trade and other types of institutions in the UK have been quite phenomenal. These are some of the things that his bio does not speak of, but I thought it's important for me to share with you so that you get a full sense of this extraordinary individual who is present with us. Of course, I will invite Tanushree shortly to introduce him formally, but I'm grateful to him for sparing time. It's pretty early in the morning in London, where he is speaking from, but I'm grateful to him for his presence. With those words, I once again want to congratulate the students of Jindal Global Business School, including many students of the current batches who are also watching us live on Facebook and YouTube, for you to welcome back to the university after a short summer break. I know that the students who are enrolled in the new academic year, the new students, will be joining us formally for classes on 16th of August. With those words, let me quickly ask Mr. Vikram Tomar, the Director of the Business School Admissions, to introduce the incoming class of 2021 of the Jindal Global Business School. Thank you very much.
A very good afternoon to Mr. Singh from my side and our respected Vice Chancellor, along with all the dignitaries who are present. I formally welcome the class of 2021, and it has been always a pleasure to maintain the motto of the word global, which is the middle name of our university as well as the school. To share an insight with all of you, this year also the class of 2021 has been organized from more than 25 states and union territories of the country. The class of 2021 in undergraduate level would witness students, particularly from countries like Bahrain, Doha, Nepal, Rwanda, and even Dubai. So the BBA program, which was traditionally once thought of to be more as a local or a North India centric program, we always believe in the word diversity, and that learning comes from who is sitting on your left and your right. So students and dear parents who have shown confidence in us to put your child with us. We are all here as academicians, and I welcome you all for an enriching journey. And I once again congratulate you, and I look forward to meet you personally sometime in the campus. And with that, I would close my note and I would request Professor Tanushri to take the session ahead. Thank you, Professor Raj, and my dear friends. Welcome once again.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tomar, for introducing the incoming 2021 class of Jindal Global Business School. And thank you so much, Professor Raj, for your inaugural address and for inspiring and encouraging words. It's now my proud privilege to introduce and invite the distinguished speaker, Mr. Amarjit Singh, to deliver the commencement lecture. Mr. Amarjit Singh is the Chief Executive Officer of the India Business Group, a leading UK-based business advisory consultancy. He is at the forefront of building and strengthening bilateral trade and investment relations between the UK and India, working alongside some of the world's most influential political and business leaders. As a nationally recognized expert in Indian business affairs, Mr. Singh was one of the two handpicked lawyers to accompany the Prime Minister David Cameron on his historic 2013 trade delegation to India. Mr. Singh specializes in cross-border business transactions between the UK and India. With expertise in law and international relations, he advises on a range of issues, including business strategy, market research, international business development, and contractual matters. Mr. Singh, we are eager and excited to hear your thoughts on the future of India UK business relations in a post COVID-19 era. Over to you, Mr. Singh.
Thank you very much, Professor Sharma, faculty members, and Professor Rajkumarji. Greetings and good afternoon to you. It's a wonderful honor to be with you today. And just before I commence, I would like to say that, Rajkumarji, your words, I'm humbled by your words and sentiments. And if I may say so, I've taken much inspiration from you, not only as an institution builder of the highest order, but as the living bridge between the UK and India and other parts of the world. And a very good afternoon to all of our students and guests. It's a real privilege and honor to be addressing you today at the very start of your academic session. And my congratulations to all of you on joining such an inspiring and impactful university. And as you've already heard, you are entering an established institution of eminence. And I'm delighted to be speaking with you today about the future of UK-India business relations, an area which I am very passionate about. Over the past 2 decades, I've been involved in strengthening UK-India relations in a variety of roles and capacities, facilitating business collaborations, partnerships, but as you've heard, with a specific focus on academia, on higher education, on supporting the true global leaders of tomorrow and our future. And both the India Business Group and the University of Southampton have cherished an excellent working relationship with OP Jindal Global University over the years. And in fact, we've been involved in a range of research projects, enterprise activities, learning programs over the years, under the dynamic leadership and support of the founding Vice Chancellor. So I have prepared a PowerPoint presentation, and subject to technology's approval, I'll attempt to share that with you, and then I'll take you through the commencement lecture. So I think you should be able to see that now. So in this commencement lecture, I will essentially address two fundamental questions. Firstly, how did UK and Indian businesses respond and adapt to the COVID-19 pandemic challenges? And what can we learn from this experience going forward? And secondly, as you've heard, what are the real opportunities and some of the pressing challenges for UK-India business relations over the next 10 years and beyond? So, as you're aware, the COVID-19 pandemic sent global shockwaves around the world and caused huge disruption to an unprecedented manner. And the International Monetary Fund described it as a crisis like no other because of its sudden impact to economies, societies, health systems, and organizations around the world, causing significant uncertainty and complexity across all sectors and industries in all parts of the world. And this caused an adverse impact both to lives and to livelihoods around the world. And if we just take one example, we all witnessed last year the huge reverse migration which took place in India. And because of the lockdown, factory closures, and sudden unemployment, millions of informal sector workers were forced to travel back from cities to their original towns and villages. And there was a fear that not only would this spread the virus to rural India, but also it would add an additional layer of burden on state level governments to provide basic provisions and support services within their regions. But with every challenge, new opportunities are created. And what the pandemic has done, it has shifted attitudes and cultures and contributed to resilience innovation, where resilience has really been given a different meaning in this modern era. And if we just take one example, the rapid acceleration of technology has changed working practices, business models, the way we live, communicate, and cooperate with each other. And for example, what we are doing today through digital platforms like Zoom and other platforms, we are able to connect and continue with business proceedings. And from your perspective, students, what I would say is that this acceleration of technology has actually created more opportunities for you. So whilst the pandemic has been challenging, there has been a lot of new innovation that has come out. And in fact, one study stated that we advanced by more than 10 years in terms of technology use and reliance than we would have done within one single year. Such has been the era within which we have been operating and creating resilience. So I'd just like to give you a bit of a snapshot here, some quick facts and figures about India in the UK. And as you're all aware, India's estimated population is 1.37 billion. And India is known to have the demographic dividend, as more than 2/3 are below the age of 35. And so essentially we have the largest youth population in the world with huge potential for social progress, economic progress, sustainable progress. And that progress is very much in your hands as budding entrepreneurs and corporates of tomorrow. India is the world's 5th largest economy. In terms of its presence in the UK, India is the 2nd largest foreign direct investor in the UK after the USA. And so it has a huge economic impact and influence on the United Kingdom. And to give you a little bit of context here, there are currently over 850 Indian businesses in the UK, collectively employing over 116,000 people. And the top sectors include technology, telecoms, pharma, and chemicals. So if we just take the Tata Group as one example, the Tata Group have a significant presence in the UK. And in fact, today are one of the largest private sector manufacturing employers in the country. Over the years, the Tata Group has acquired some very famous British brands, such as Tetley Tea and Jaguar Land Rover. And so the group has contributed to creating jobs, wealth, and new consumer experiences in the UK. So if we look at the reverse for a moment and a bit of a snapshot of the UK's presence in India as of today, and of course, whilst the UK has a much smaller population in contrast to India, it is the world's 6th largest economy as we speak. And services form a much larger proportion of the economy, probably around 80% of the UK's GDP is in services, and this ranges from retail to financial services to legal services. So it's very broad. To give you a little bit of context, there are around 570 UK businesses in India operating across all states, cities, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, and regions in India, employing just over 416,000 people. And so that's quite significant from an investor relationship. And some of the top sectors include industrial, business services, technology, consumer, retail. And for example, several big British businesses have been in India for many, many decades. So some names which you may be familiar with are HSBC, Rolls-Royce, JCB, BAE Systems. These are all British listed companies with extensive operations in India for quite a while. And that gives investor confidence to new businesses, to startups and scale-ups that are looking at India as a market for business, for trade, investment, and for wider collaborations.
Majid, can I request you to expand the presentation a bit, maybe slightly make it bigger, if it's possible?
Yeah, certainly.
Maybe that's the bigger size, maybe, I don't know.
That should be full screen now, I hope.
Okay, good.
And we'll share a copy of this, of course, with all the students and the team. So we've seen throughout the pandemic, the UK and India have demonstrated rapid and resilient cooperation on a variety of matters, but specifically the provision and supply of PPE and medical supplies. And you will all know that India is often described as the pharmacy to the world and has acted as such. And so we've seen a bilateral resources mobilization over the last 18 months to an unprecedented level. So what examples can we share of that? Well, if we look at the UK's first wave, India supplied rapid paracetamol. At one point, there were 3 million packages of paracetamol that were exported from India to the UK because of the shortage we were facing, alongside surgical masks and other medical provisions. And then, of course, the UK reciprocated in India's ferocious second wave, which we all sadly witnessed earlier this year. And not just the UK government, but UK businesses, UK-based charities, and UK universities actually stepped up and came to support with provision of oxygen generators, oxygen cylinders, which were very much the need of the hour in India, and offering support at that very difficult and tough time. Vaccine research and production has been another significant area of accelerated collaboration. And the example I would like to share with you here is the work of the Serum Institute of India, which many of you may know is based in Pune, and Serum Institute collaborated with Oxford University for the distribution of the AstraZeneca vaccine. And so what we saw here was that the vaccine in question being designed and developed in the UK at Oxford University with other university partners supporting, such as Southampton, but then the manufacturing to have taken place in India, but then rollout and distribution to the world. And so this was a very poignant example of the UK and India acting as a force for good to the entire world. So my final comment on this particular slide would be that despite travel issues, despite lockdowns, and despite adversity, UK-India relations have accelerated, not just in business, but in science, in healthcare, in academia. And we will see in a moment in terms of the business impact. But just before I turn to that, I'd just like to make one final observation on this. And that is, earlier this year, the UK hosted the G7 leaders meeting, at which India was one of the participants as the world's largest democracy. And we had India's External Affairs Minister, Dr. Jaishankar, attend the UK for those important deliberations. But partway through, 2 members in his delegation tested positive for COVID-19 whilst he was in the UK. So as a consequence of that, the entire Indian delegation self-isolated, but continued to participate through technology and technology provision. So therefore, again, it shows the level of resilience between the UK and India, but also the fact that the relationship is much wider than just trade, investment, and business. BREXIT. So you may be aware that BREXIT has been seen as something of a hot potato, and some contenders may say, well, it's still cooking in the oven. So allow me to give you some context here. The European Union used to be a political and economic union made up of 28 member states, which functioned as an internal single market for the free movement of goods, services, and people. But 2016 was the year when the British public voted, and they voted to leave the European Union. And it was a very narrow vote, which divided the country. And therefore, there was a very complex and long process of negotiations. And the negotiations were at multiple levels. They were internally within the British Parliament and the different parties and factions. They were between the UK and EU member institutions. And then they were between the UK and the various member states of the European Union on how the UK should exit. And there was a fear that this would actually set a precedent, which has yet to be seen. And so the consequence is that today the UK is a fully independent trading nation after 47 years, with the ability to strike its own trade deals around the world. And we'll be touching upon the proposed India one in a few moments. The UK was always seen by global companies as a stepping stone into Europe. And there was a fear that Brexit may have an adverse impact. What do I mean by that? Well, on the one hand, the fear was existing global businesses in the UK may relocate to other territories within Europe where they may find more benefits. Or secondly, that fresh investment into the UK may reduce. But actually, neither of those have happened. And what we've seen is that India is bucking the trend in the sense that investment has expanded despite Brexit into the UK, and economic relations have been strengthened. And we will come on to that in little detail. So the summary here is that today the UK is working to secure free trade agreements around the world. And why are they doing that? Well, free trade agreements help to boost two-way trades and in goods and services to fuel economic growth, new jobs, prosperity, regeneration for the UK and the counterpart country involved. So in other words, an FTA is a win-win model for the countries concerned. So earlier this year, the UK government published what has been described as an integrated review of security, defense, development, and foreign policy. And this is a significant review. It's been described as the largest review of its kind since the end of the Cold War. And its aims are to make the UK a more stronger, safer, prosperous, and resilient country by working with key allies and partners around the world. And so the review identifies the UK's post-Brexit global role, priorities, and policies. And there has been a strong tilt towards the Indo-Pacific region. And within the Indo-Pacific region, India stands out considerably as a country where the UK wishes to increase cooperation on a range of areas. And alongside the business, trade, and investment relationship, there is an ambition to develop a closer defense and security partnership between both countries to help combat mutual threats. And so, for example, some of you may have seen in the last week, the UK's Carrier Strike Group, which is a Royal Navy fleet of vessels, has actually been in India, undertaking joint marine exercises between the Royal Navy and the Indian Navy in the Bay of Bengal. And so the purpose of that has been to share expertise, techniques, innovation, technology on how both countries can work closer together to tackle existing, new, and emerging threats. So again, demonstrating that the relationship is much wider than business, although business is a core aspect of it. So earlier this year, our respective trade ministers between the UK and India announced an enhanced trade partnership, something which we call for short an ETP. And the ETP is a significant stepping stone and statement of intent by both countries, and essentially is a game changer for businesses, consumers, students, and young leaders for tomorrow. And so essentially the enhanced trade partnership, it unlocks new business opportunities for both countries across a range of areas such as food, drinks, life sciences. And since May, we've seen more British manufacturers of fruits exporting their produce to India. So more apples and pears from the UK are being exported into India because the ETP removes various tariff and non-tariff barriers with the consequence of improving market access. So you can see that whilst these are government frameworks, it's actually businesses that operationalize them and make them real and tangible. So the enhanced trade partnership is an important precursor for the UK and India. It's an important first step before agreeing a comprehensive free trade agreement, which remains a strong ambition for both countries. And the UK's Department of International Trade is currently involved in a very important scoping exercise. It's undertaking a 14-week consultation with the public and businesses on seeking their views and inputs and insights on what should be the priorities in this huge and growing, expanding economic relationship between two superpowers of the world's fifth and sixth largest economies. And so formal negotiations are expected to commence later this year. But what you would have noticed is that both governments are being very proactive in trying to change the current status quo and for UK and India to become even more closer intertwined and connected on a win-win basis. So what are the emerging opportunities for collaboration in both directions? The answer to that is very short and simple. There are a wealth of opportunities across the full spectrum. And please treat this as a non-exhaustive list. And I will just talk you through 2 or 3 of them to add some texture and context. Manufacturing and supply chains is a huge and growing opportunity which has been enhanced by the pandemic. And a lot of Western based manufacturers and businesses have been looking at geographic diversification in recent months. In other words, how do you expand your marketing activities beyond just one country? And because of some of the issues we've seen, geopolitics issues, this has been pulled into much sharper focus. And here, India stands out from the crowd as an attractive destination. And the reasoning for that is simple. India, as we've already heard, as one of the largest youth, skilled, educated, and becoming more advanced. It has competitive labor charges. It has one of the highest middle classes in the world. So there's a domestic fuel demand for luxury goods, services, technology, innovation. And then also there are government policies which are very supportive and friendly. For example, the Make in India manufacturing program, which champions 25 sectors in India, where the center and state governments are actually providing incentives and support to foreign businesses to actually come in. And so we would have all heard, and quite rightfully so, when the Honorable Prime Minister often says that come to India, not for red tape, but for the red carpet. And that's very much a sentiment of the Make in India initiative. I'll move on to fintech for a few moments. And a lot of you budding entrepreneurs will probably know much more about fintech than me. But we've seen in the last 5 years, the huge digitalization of products and services in India in the public and private sectors. And so, for example, alternatives to traditional banking, and we've seen startups and unicorns erupting from all parts of the country. And this is where collaboration with UK is growing because of the UK's world-class strengths in these areas within fintech, but also other technologies like artificial intelligence, blockchain, cryptocurrency, cybersecurity. So this is a huge growing area. And one more I'll touch upon because of time, otherwise I would have loved to go through the entire list, is skills development and training is another huge area for collaboration. And if we look at higher education institutions and colleges and vocational providers in both countries, whilst they are coming together, there is much more scope for curriculum innovation, for new enterprise activities, for virtual internships, for exchange programs, for business research projects, which will help make our youth more job ready, future ready, and globally ready. And I'm aware that that is one of the very strong functionalities of the Jindal Global Business School. So what are some of the key considerations for UK and Indian businesses when looking at cross-border investments? Well, democracy and rule of law are significant, and India is the world's largest democracy, UK is the world's oldest, with regard and respect for rule of law, but also there are similarities of laws and institutions. Availability of professional advice. So in my day job as CEO of the India Business Group, I'm frequently advising ambitious startups, scale-ups, and SMEs on cross-border business opportunities. And we provide them with strategic frameworks. We provide them with market intelligence. We provide them with support on identification and selection of potential partners for their business model. We advise them on due diligence requirements so that we minimize their outlay and risk in penetrating a new market in either direction. And also we provide mentoring support, which is very important to startups, particularly those who are going into a marketplace for the very first time. Language, of course, the English language is very important, and there's a strong cultural understanding between both nations. Expanding domestic markets, which I've already touched upon, and historic relationships in the business community. So for example, British multinational companies like Standard Chartered and HSBC have been operating in India for more than 100 years. So there is an established track record, but which also gives confidence to newcomers and market entrants. So a very important point, which is a practical consideration when boardrooms decide which market should we enter, why, when, and how. So what are some of the challenges facing businesses going into either direction? And ease of doing business is a very important consideration. In other words, the regulatory environment within a particular geography or marketplace. And it's fair to say that India has made significant strides over the past 10 years on improving the ease of doing business. And according to the World Bank's latest ratings in 2019, it currently stands at position number 63 out of 190 countries. However, there is an ambition for India to do more so that it becomes on a par with the UK in the top 10 of the rankings. Investor confidence is a key consideration in terms of volatility within the marketplace. There is scope to improve mutual recognition of business and professional qualifications. Tax regimes must be friendly and fair to domestic businesses, but also to global businesses coming into the marketplace. And then we have practical considerations of visas and travel restrictions. How easy is it to get a visa, the duration of it, the type of the visa. And finally, I'll just expand on this particular perceived challenge: size, diversity, and complexity of the market. So an Indian business coming to the UK, well, the UK is made up of 4 countries. Each have different styles, slightly different environments. And then if we look at a British business going into India, well, India is not a homogeneous market. It's a collection of 28 states, each with different FDI requirements, different practices, different priorities, different taste buds, different local languages. And so the practical point is that any business will need to actually very carefully work on a go-to-market strategy. So I would say that whilst these challenges exist, none of these are insurmountable, and support is available to help overcome them with the view to continuing the successful relationship between both countries. The role of higher education institutions is crucial in terms of deepening and diversifying UK-India relations. We've already seen the bilateral student and staff mobility, which enhances cross-cultural understanding, skills, linkages. We've seen UK and Indian institutions work together on cutting-edge research and development, not just in the healthcare space, but addressing the sustainable development goals, which are becoming more and more relevant to businesses. And a classic example here is the University of Southampton's India Centre for Inclusive Growth and Sustainable Development, of which I'm privileged to be one of the founding directors. And established in 2019, the Southampton India Centre has been facilitating multidisciplinary research, enterprise activities, and wider impacts on strengthening and supporting UK-India, but working with key and like-minded prestigious partners like Jindal Global University. So again, our universities are actually paving the way in greater cooperation, and I'm sure that it's only a matter of time before we'll be developing even more dual degree models which benefit students from both nations. Last few slides. So the role of the diaspora has been significant in terms of raising awareness of cultures, but also these are the people-to-people ties which bind both nations. They add a cementing factor, and there are currently around 1.5 million Indian diaspora in the UK, active in all walks of life. If we just look at politics as one subsector, well, today you may be aware the Chancellor of the Exchequer, who sits at 11 Downing Street, Mr. Rishi Sunak, is of Indian origin. And similarly, our Home Secretary, Mrs. Preeti Patel, today is of Indian origin. And so Indians have made a huge contribution in the UK, but some of them today occupy some of the highest offices of the land, showing you that any glass ceiling can be broken. And it's what Prime Minister Modi ji quite rightfully calls the living bridge between both countries. So what does the future hold for UK-India relations? Both Prime Ministers recently agreed and announced an ambitious roadmap to achieving a comprehensive trade deal between both nations. This includes doubling bilateral trade to the current level of 23 billion within the next 10 years. So that's a very ambitious outlook, but with a view to driving economic growth in both countries. The roadmap in question identifies 5 pillars. These are people-to-people connect, trade and prosperity, defense, security, climate, energy, and health. I've touched upon many of these throughout the lecture, and these are becoming more and more relevant to businesses. So as we have seen, the future is highly promising with a rich bilateral agenda. There's a wealth of opportunities for mutual benefit, not just for both countries, but also for the wider world. And my advice to business leaders and to you budding entrepreneurs, because you are tomorrow's industrialists, economists, thought leaders, my advice to you would be the time to act is now. Do not shy away in taking calculated risks, because without risks, there are no rewards. And my final thought to you would be that the future of UK-India relations is very much in your hands. Thank you very much for this opportunity, and I hope you found that useful.
Time to act is now. Distanced by the COVID-19 pandemic, united by technology, the UK-India relations have shown resilience and emerged stronger in the post-COVID era. Thank you so much, Mr. Amarjit Singh, for your insightful nuggets of information on the India-UK business relations in a post-COVID-19 era. And thank you also for emphasizing the role of resilience innovation in overcoming the unforeseen and unprecedented challenges. Lastly, thanks a lot for such a comprehensive presentation, which insinuated the challenges, considerations, and collaboration opportunities that India and UK can explore and leverage going forward. Thank you so much. On behalf of the entire faculty fraternity and the student body. Moving forward, I would now like...
Tanushree, can I take the liberty to ask one question to our speaker? Because I know students, if they were physically there, they would ask this question. Can I do that,
sure,
Amarjit,
please.
with your permission?
With great pleasure, with great pleasure.
So Amarjit, so as you can imagine, there is a lot of uncertainty in the minds of the students who are present here, and of course, students across the country and around the world. As somebody who has seen through life and also many challenges in the past, what is your message to the students, those of whom who are entering into college during the pandemic? And maybe for some more time, they will go through this challenge that is the world is confronting. So what would be your message to them?
So thank you very much, Professor Rajkumar, for such a poignant question. And in fact, I would be thrilled to deliver another lecture on this topic, such as the breadth and depth of its impact and urgency. But a wonderful question. And I think that reflecting upon my own journey and some of the leaders I've worked with and businesses, I think my key message to you would be remain ambitious and flexible, because in your careers and with any organization, with every business plan, there was always a master plan. But what the pandemic has shown us is that departing from that in response to changing circumstances, macro, wider, is actually a strength. And so therefore, whilst you might say that the plan is to do X, Y, and Z and to go into this direction. So for example, we're living in an era where the advice is go left, but you actually take a right turning. So what I would say is that remain flexible in your minds, in your plans, in your vision, because that flexibility will act as a strength and will help you to build greater resilience in your careers, in your roles, and in your wider impacts in society.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Amarjit. Tanushree, please go ahead. Sorry.
Sure. Thank you once again, Mr. Singh. Proceeding forward, I would now like to call upon my esteemed colleague, Professor Tej Pawan Gandho, Vice Dean, Communication and Outreach, Jindal Global Business School, to kindly present the concluding remarks. Over to you, Professor Gandho.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor Tanushree. Wow, I have such a challenge to conclude. What an amazing session. But I just want to really say a big thank you to our guest speaker. And I want to just sort of distill what I'm taking away, and hopefully that will also energize and inspire our students, because I think, congratulations, Mr. Amarjit Singh, you delivered a masterful discourse and demonstrated a mastery which is inspirational to our students, that as people wanting to understand the world of business, you have to understand and appreciate the wider context of geopolitics, the key mega trends impacting economies, technology, and the human context. And in your mastery and your demonstration of that mastery, I hope that inspires our students to appreciate what a wonderful journey they are commencing today, and to extract full value of what JGBS and JGU offer to our students, to not only master the fields of business, but the variety of domains that you touched upon. And also the tremendous energy and drive that you demonstrate, as well as that optimism and importance of maintaining the international perspectives and connects despite the pandemic constraints, because of their increasing volatility and uncertainty, but increasing importance in the increasing complexity of the world that we and our students face. And so a big salute also to our students, based on the points our Vice Chancellor made about their tremendous perseverance, their resilience, and their agility to come this far. And those are indeed the qualities that will take you further as you go through the portals of this amazing institution. Not only the recent rankings that we are receiving, the world is increasingly recognizing the scale, the quality, and the trajectory and the pace that our dynamic leadership in our Vice Chancellor, our Dean, and our Registrar are driving us forward. And so to the students, reflect on the tremendous lecture that you've just had, and picture abhi bahut baki hai. This is just the beginning of a tremendous journey that you will get going forward. Back to you, Professor Tanushree.
Thank you so much. And one last word to the incoming 2021 class. Spread out your wing. We, the faculty at JGBS, the wind beneath your wings, are waiting to help you soar greater heights. Thank you so much. Take good care of yourselves. Bye-bye.